So my name is Lourdes, or Lulu is what I prefer to be called. Pretty much in this video, I want to go over prior to getting pregnant and then that first positive pregnancy test, as well as going through the process with Kaiser as to getting my first prenatal visit. So prior to getting pregnant, I had quite a few issues or whatever with pelvic pain and stuff like that. And so pretty much every time I'd go to the doctors and stuff like that, they do like exams, ultrasound, stuff like that, and they just give me like pain medication. And that's when they try to tell me like, oh, well, if you try birth control, that would alleviate the problem type thing. And I'm just like, okay. So we tried, I'm trusting the doctors because they're doctors, they know what the heck they're talking about type thing. But I didn't really know how to advocate for myself at the time. And so they had me try all kinds of different birth controls. I kept having side effects to pretty much almost all of them. And so the last one I had was the Nexplanon, and then I ended up getting it removed because it was starting to give me migraines. I gained like 50 plus pounds in a month. Just all kinds of like body aches, different kinds of things going on. So I'm just like, you know what, let me just take it out. My doctor ended up recommending I take it out anyways. And so that's when I first started going to Kaiser, and they told me just, hey, we're, no birth control, we'll figure it out type thing. And so luckily I got the gynecologist that I have now, and so now he's been my OB, continuing on throughout the pregnancy, but he was very attentive, and so prior to him, all the other doctors were like, it's all in your head, or it's psychological type thing, where like there's nothing, have you tried this, different types of options, I guess, but like not really paying attention to what the heck I was saying, other than like, no, we can't find anything. But I'm just like, clearly something is wrong, because why am I having so much pain? And so after a while, and like this, my doctor was honest with me, and he's just like, you haven't been on birth control, you and your partner haven't been on birth control for, it was 5 years? About 5 years. And so we hadn't had like a positive pregnancy test. We weren't being like cautious, normal things or whatever. At first we weren't like really like thinking so much about it. We're just like, okay, if it happens, it happens type thing. If it doesn't, it doesn't. We weren't too worried about it. It was the beginning of our relationship type thing. We obviously knew we wanted to be together and everything. And we saw a future with each other, but having children wasn't like the main priority. We were still having fun. We were still going to like events, trying to go travel, experience things, so those types of things we were, more focused on, not having children until about like 5 years into our relationship. And so that's when we're just like, okay, like we haven't gotten pregnant yet. And it started kind of clicking, like, what, why not? And so, then we started kind of paying attention more and like hoping for those positive tests and stuff like that. And my doctor was just like, the doctor I have now with Kaiser, he was just like, I suspect from everything you're telling me, you may have endometriosis and this and that, but he was, he's like, I can't diagnose you without having the surgery. And this is pretty much, he had explained to me, if we have the surgery, this is pretty much what we can do. If we don't, I could still do this. I'm just limited in like my pain medication regimen and like, a few, like 1 or 2 other treatment plans type thing. And I'm just like, okay, not that big of a deal. I didn't want to go through with the surgery anyways. I just felt like there wasn't as much options for treatment and as I was hoping. So he was honest with me and let me know. I made the choice not to. So we just started a medication that they use for patients with endometriosis. So Kaiser makes it super easy where sometimes there's downfalls with Kaiser, other times there's, good things, but I feel like they made it overall pretty easy to start the prenatal care. Pretty much I went on there, and then you just click and it'll kind of walk you through like, okay, whether you had a positive pregnancy test or not, and this and that. And so then you would get started, and you would pretty much just have them either do another test in the lab, or you just say you already had one. And so, excuse me. So I had already said that I had one. And so then I just made an appointment, and from there, they ended up running more blood work. They ended up doing a urine. So they took my urine that appointment, and that's when they ended up doing blood work as well. And then they ended up actually doing an ultrasound that first appointment, just to kind of make sure and everything like that. And prior to like actually having the appointment, I had somebody call, and I'm assuming it was an MA. I don't remember exactly for that, phone call, but it was someone I've never spoken to before, and he was just like, okay, when was the date of your last period? And they usually go by like the first day. So when was the first day of your last period? And then he started kind of going over like different things like, okay, this is what you need to watch out for. Take prenatal vitamins, try eating these foods, don't exert yourself X amount, avoid caffeine, and only if you do have caffeine, I think it was like 300 something like milligrams or something per day, which is like super little, but different things like that. So that was initially like the first conversation, and then it was going and having that actual in-person like office visit. And so in my next video, I'll kind of go over, everything more and more detail, but hopefully this is a little more helpful.